Gypsy Rose Blanchard is adjusting to life as a free woman after being released from prison in December. She had been serving a 10-year sentence for a second-degree murder charge for the killing of her mother back in 2015. And for over a decade, Gypsy Rose says she lived in a wheelchair, believing she suffered from multiple medical issues, including leukemia, seizures, muscular dystrophy. But experts say it was likely a case of Munchausen by proxy. 2020 co-anchor Deborah Roberts joining me now to preview tonight's all-new 2020 about Gypsy Rose's case and her next act. So Deborah, thank you so much for being with us. So you interview Gypsy Rose. What stood out to you most from that sit down?
Well, first of all, I was so shocked by how much people are drawn to this woman. When I went out to do the interview with her, she had almost 20 million followers online and growing. So people were really captivated by her story. And I was also just struck by the fact that she went into prison as a young woman who had just been basically held captive by her mother, had a second-grade education. She managed to get her GED in prison. So she was very self-aware. She was very well-spoken. I was really surprised to see how much she handled herself in a way that was actually she seems very, very smart, very in tune with what's going on around her. And I was impressed by that after nearly a decade in prison.
Yeah. And what about her mother? What does she reveal to you about that relationship?
Well, what's so fascinating about this story is it is so different from so many of the true crime stories that we've covered, because people are so divided over this. There are people who embrace this young woman because they feel that she was victimized. And Gypsy actually owns the fact that she participated in this murder of her mother. She feels very conflicted about it, and she says she still misses her mom. She loves her mom, and she misses her mom. It was not something she wanted to do or set out to do. She said she felt desperate, and to hear her talk about her mom in a way that was loving was really interesting to me.
Yeah, and I think that we have a little bit of that soundbite as well. Is that okay if we can play that?
In some of the documentaries, your mom has been portrayed as a monster.
I don't believe my mother was a monster. She had mental illness. She had a lot of demons herself that she was struggling with, and she would have needed mental health care.
Do you miss your mom, Dee Dee?
Yeah, I miss my mom. I still think about my mom from time to time. After all, she still was my mother, no matter what she did to me.
I mean, that was all she knew. Her mother never left her side. And that was part of this whole captivity. Her mother never really let her have friendships. And you're going to find out tonight on 2020 how, as a teenager and a 20-year-old, she started to step out of that bubble. And you're also going to hear from a psychiatrist about what was at play here, why she felt so desperate, how she felt that this was her only option. And then you may better understand why some people see her really as a victim more than a perpetrator.
Right, and you know, Deb, I'm really struck by her level of empathy that she displayed in that interview, and it could contribute to how the following that she's been gaining over this.
She owns it. She owns it. She doesn't pretend that she had no hand in this. She doesn't pretend to be just a victim. She does see herself as a victim. She says she was let down by the medical system, which probably should have caught some of this along the way, but her mother was very, very clever in how she maneuvered around the system. You'll hear all those details tonight on 2020. A lot of details that you haven't heard before.
And you also spoke with Gypsy's new husband. What do they have to say about how the world is reacting to them?
It was fascinating to meet Ryan Anderson, her new husband. He wrote to her as a pen pal in prison. What guy wants to connect with a woman in prison? You'll hear from him. And I told him, I said, a lot of people on social media are very suspicious of you. And he answers that question, and he talks about their new relationship. They, on a lot of levels, are a very sweet new couple starting out, but the big question is, what do they walk into now, and how will she be affected by this fame?
And that's my question for you. What's next for Gypsy Rose in this?
Well, she's got a lot of things going on. She's got this documentary. She's got a book that's coming out. She's got cameras that are following her. She has a lot of connection right now to a flame that could be, you know, dicey. She could be burned by it. And that's the big question. Is she going to be able to handle that? Who's going to guide her? Where will she go next? She says she wants to be an influence for good. And I asked her, influencer or influence? And she made it very clear she wants to influence. She wants to talk about abuse because she never really had an opportunity to know and to have an option to step out of her world.
Absolutely. The Deborah Roberts joining us now on ABC News Live. Thank you so much. And of course, you can watch 2020 on Hulu.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.